A little something I wrote about maybe one of the most sick and twisted individuals in the world. He was born in 1630, and after 1671, nobody knew what happened to him. He was a Dutch pirate. He was a Dutch native that moved to Brazil, and at some point he left Brazil and he started a life of piracy. So, without further ado, I present to you Ode to Roast Brasiliano. There once was a Dutch pirate named Rock, who never seemed to leave the dock. He'd sit on a keg of wine, start drinking at 9:15, and kept a pistol tucked away in his sock. He'd aim it at passerby and shout, "Sit and drink, don't be shy. Don't you see that this wine be free? Else methinks I'll hang you from a tree. Surely no man wants to be left high and dry." This was an offer no man could refuse, but Rock's offer would most often confuse. The last man to say nay was roasted alive, so into a bottle they'd both dive to drown themselves in a sea of booze. It was in the year 1655 when the mad pirate moved to Port Royal, Jamaica, where he did strive. Picking off treasure ships sailing from New Spain, Rock and his dastardly crew had become objects of disdain. Planning, plotting, and colluding, they all continued to connive. He was as ruthless as they would come, especially when there wasn't an ounce of rum. Legends foretell his immense acts of brutality, causing all of his victims great agony, as the lives he took reached an insurmountable sum. All those who practice the sweet trade of piracy, hearken and hear his tall tale of tyranny. For no man was safe, his own crew watched him warily, while other pirates would carouse merrily. The Rock of Brazil would commit great acts of barbarity. The captain and his men once came upon a farm. Unless the family surrendered their land, he would cause them great harm. "I will give you nothing unless you pay me a good amount," a man had replied. The patience of the captain had now been tried, so Rock had he and his family tied. To Captain Rock, those who valued money more than life were a disease. After shooting a woman in the leg with his arquebus, he continually bashed the man at his knees. "Take hold of the women and put the little ones in your room. They'll be given a proper upbringing and become harbingers of doom." The men did just as he said, or else they too would be dead. Half of the family had been bound in rope. To escape from Rock's grasp, there was no hope. Saying no to the captain always met with dread. "You can have my land, please just let our families go," the broken and beaten farmer had pled, his heart full of woe. But all Captain Rock could see was red. One could dig with a spade into his black heart in search of remorse, but there wasn't a shred. Anything Rock Brasiliano wanted, he would take by force. "Dismember these buxom beauties and roast their limbs. Our prisoners beg for food and look a little thin." Rock had ordered his men on a whim, and they obeyed his orders, even if the act was unbelievably grim. Desperate and starving, the remaining hostages were presented with human meat. For the defeated prisoners, this was all there was to eat. Those who did not perish were locked in the cellar and left to rot. Rock's men barricaded the doors, all of their begging and screaming for naught, the sounds of which to the captain's ears was oh so sweet. Captain Rock and his grimy crew had many Spanish pursuers. The governor of Campeche had sent his best men after these wrongdoers. After Rock captured many ships and blown them to bits, the governor had thrown another one of his fits. Breaking down, he had come close to calling it quits. Until one fateful day, Rock had been apprehended and thrown in prison. For all of the Spanish Navy, a wondrous occasion to celebrate had arisen. However, a letter was forged with a stolen pen and was smuggled to the governor's desk at 10:30. His city had already almost fallen into Buccaneer hands once before. If Rock was not released, there would be an all-out war. The governor summoned Rock to his bedroom, upon whence he had been overcome with a sense of utmost gloom. Fear spread amongst the ever-so-vigilant sailors that guarded the shore. "I will release you, senor, but you will plague these seas no more, and you must give up La Pirateria forever. We must never speak of this endeavor." Capitan, that will settle the score. Rock agreed, and was shipped directly to Spain. Upon arrival, he made off to Jamaica again. Thanks to his most brilliant, death-defying fame, he continued his piracy because he had no shame. The crew had met him with great acclaim. They would proclaim, "Ahoy! Rock lives!" spreading his name like a flame, hoping to aim for fame. But to Rock, this was not a game. The year was 1671. Rock Braziliano stared off to the sun. His blood hatred of Spain slaked. Was it possible this old pirate would retire, now understanding the value of his own life over all of the riches he could desire? How could his horrible deeds ever be forgiven, especially since he was a man who was always so driven? Had he managed to let the healing light come in, finally being purged of sin? It is more likely old Roche Braziliano and ship was lost to sea. Finally, the tormented captain would be free. All of his hands joined him in Davy Jones' locker. So just remember, when someone forces you to do something, don't be a sucker. The end.